The massive alien vessel hung in Earth's orbit like a gleaming silver dagger. Its polished hull reflected the blue-green planet below, a stark contrast to the utilitarian human ships that approached it with caution. Commander Jack Stone gripped the edge of his command console as the shuttle docked with the Kreth mothership. 6 months had passed since humanity detected the signals from deep space. 2 months since they'd decoded the message. 1 week since the aliens had arrived. "Final checks complete, Commander," said Officer Tom White. "They're ready for us." Jack nodded, straightening his formal uniform. "Remember the plan. Be respectful, but don't let them push us around." The human delegation consisted of just 5 people. Jack Tom, Dr. Mary Clark, a linguist, Professor David Green, an expert in physics, and Ambassador Robert Gray. They were humanity's first impression to an advanced alien civilization. The airlock hissed open. Jack led his team into a long corridor with walls that seemed to shimmer with an inner light. At the end stood 3 tall figures. The Kreth were impressive, nearly 7 feet tall with 4 arms and silvery skin that reflected light in rainbow patterns. Their eyes were large and black, set in narrow faces with no visible mouth until they spoke. "Humans," said the central figure. Its voice came from a small device on its chest. "I am High Commander Orcs of the Valoran Confederation. You may enter our meeting chamber." Jack stepped forward. "Commander Jack Stone of Earth, we are honored by this opportunity for our worlds to meet." Orcs made a sound that the translator rendered as laughter. "Honor? Your species knows nothing of honor yet, but you will learn, perhaps." The meeting chamber was vast, with a curved table surrounded by chairs designed for beings very different from humans. Holographic displays floated in the air, showing images of Earth from various angles. "Sit," ordered Orcs, pointing to the smaller chairs. As the humans took their seats, other aliens entered, representatives of the 6 other species that made up the Valoran Confederation. They varied in appearance from the squat, turtle-like Bren to the willowy, almost transparent loom. All looked at the humans with expressions that needed no translation, curiosity mixed with disdain. "The Confederation has been observing your planet for 50 of your years," Orcs began without preamble. "We find your development interesting, if primitive." Ambassador Gray cleared his throat. "We understand that your technology is advanced beyond ours. We hope to learn and contribute to a peaceful relationship between our worlds." A shorter Kreth stepped forward, its skin flashing patterns of light. "I am Science Director Torek. Your species fascinates us. So fragile, so limited." It gestured with its upper arms. "Your bodies break easily. Your lives are brief. Your technology relies on burning fuels and crude metals." Mary spoke up. "Every species evolves differently based on their world. We've survived and thrived on Earth, despite many challenges." "Yes," said Torek, "you survive. Like insects survive. Numerous, adaptable, but ultimately insignificant." Jack felt his face flush, but kept his composure. "We may surprise you, Director." "That seems unlikely," Orcs interrupted. "The Confederation consists of species that have mastered energy manipulation, biological enhancement, and faster-than-light travel. Your most advanced computers are toys to our children." For 3 hours, the meeting continued in this vein. The aliens described the Confederation. 7 species spanning 27 star systems, united by advanced technology and biological superiority. They questioned humans about Earth's resources, military capabilities, and political systems, barely hiding their amusement at the answers. As the meeting ended, Orcs stood. "The Confederation offers Earth protectorate status. You will provide raw materials and basic labor. In return, we will prevent your extinction and gradually share limited technology. Consider it a mercy to a species that might otherwise destroy itself." Jack exchanged glances with his team. This wasn't first contact as they had imagined it. It was humanity being put firmly in its place. "We will take your offer to Earth's leaders," Ambassador Gray said carefully. As they left, Jack heard Torek say to Erex, "Do you think they understand how weak they truly are?" Jack didn't turn around, but his hands clenched into fists at his sides. One day, they would know exactly what humans were capable of. 5 years had passed since Earth reluctantly accepted protectorate status in the Valoran Confederation. Jack Stone, now Admiral of Earth's small defense fleet, stood at the viewport of the orbital station watching Kreth ships deliver another shipment of basic technology to Earth. "Still bothers you, doesn't it?" asked Mary Clark, joining him at the window. The linguist had become Earth's chief diplomatic advisor, learning the nuances of all 7 Confederation languages. Every day, Jack admitted, being treated like children who need supervision to use scissors. The Confederation had kept their word. Technically, they provided Earth with improved medical technology, more efficient energy systems, and limited space travel capabilities. But each gift came with restrictions and constant reminders of humanity's primitive status. "Admiral, the Kreth delegation has arrived for the quarterly review," announced Tom White, now Jack's executive officer. Jack straightened his uniform. "Let's get this over with." The meeting room had been designed to Kreth specifications, uncomfortably bright lighting, chairs too tall for humans, and temperature set slightly too cold. Small reminders of who held power. Science Director Torek entered with 4 other Kreth. In 5 years, Jack had never seen Torek show respect to any human. "Admiral Stone," Torek said, "your species continues to disappoint. Production quotas for titanium and uranium are 15% below expectations. There was a major earthquake in our largest mining region," Jack explained. "We lost 17 miners and needed to rebuild safety systems." Torek's skin flashed patterns indicating dismissal. "Excuses. The Bren lost an entire mining colony to solar flares and still met their quotas." "The Bren can survive in vacuum for 30 minutes, Mary pointed out. "Humans cannot." "Precisely our point," another Kreth said. "Your biological limitations make you inefficient protectorates." Jack bit back his frustration. "We've completed the new satellite array you requested. Our engineers finished it 2 weeks ahead of schedule." "Yes," Torek admitted. "Your engineer Lucas has shown acceptable problem-solving abilities for a human." Lucas Wilson had become something of a bridge between human and alien technology. Despite the Kreth's dismissal of human engineering, they had begun requesting his input on certain projects. "We have news," Torek continued. "The Confederation Council has approved limited human presence on 3 outer colonies, primarily for maintenance and support roles." It was the first real opportunity for humans to leave the solar system. Jack tried not to show his excitement. "We're honored by the Council's trust," he said carefully. Torek's skin rippled with what Jack had learned was amusement. "Trust is not the appropriate term. Your species has proven adequately trainable, like keeping simple animals as assistants." After the meeting, Jack, Mary, and Lucas gathered in the station's human-designed lounge. "I've been studying their technology while fixing their systems," Lucas said, voice low. "They're incredibly advanced, but strangely inflexible." "What do you mean?" asked Jack. "They don't improvise. When something breaks, they replace it with an identical part. When faced with a problem their technology can't solve, they seem lost." Mary nodded. "I've noticed something similar in their language. Thousands of specific terms, but they struggle with metaphor and adaptation." Because they've never needed to adapt, Jack realized. Their worlds were perfect for them. Their technology solved all their problems. They never faced the challenges that forced humans to think creatively. "And they mock us for being the weaker species," Lucas said. "Keep learning everything you can," Jack told them. "Document everything. Be the perfect, obedient protectorates. While preparing for the day we're more than that," Mary finished. Jack looked out at the stars through the lounge window. "The Kreth think they've seen human weakness. They have no idea what human strength really is." A small alert chimed on Jack's communicator, an incoming message from Confederation headquarters. The message was unusually urgent. "This is strange," Jack said, reading the text. "They're requesting all available human medical researchers for a special project. Top priority." Mary and Lucas exchanged glances. Why would they need human medical experts? Lucas asked. "I don't know," Jack replied, "but I think we're about to find out." Dr. Emma Wright had never been inside a Kreth medical facility before. No human had. Until 3 weeks ago, the aliens had kept their advanced medical technology strictly off-limits, claiming humans weren't ready to understand it. Now she stood in the center of the massive medical bay on the Confederation's Central Station, surrounded by sophisticated equipment and increasingly desperate aliens. "Explain again what you're seeing," Emma asked, studying the medical scans on the floating display. The Kreth doctor, Mivex, gestured with 2 of his 4 arms. "The pathogen affects our neural pathways first. Then it spreads to our energy processing organs. 23 Kreth have died already. Dozens more are in critical condition." Emma watched as another set of images appeared, these showing members of the turtle-like Bren species and the ethereal loom. All displayed similar symptoms. "And it's affecting all Confederation species?" she asked. 6 of the 7, Mivex confirmed. "Only the Dorax seem resistant, and they represent less than 2% of our population." "What about humans?" Emma asked. "Have any shown symptoms?" Mivex's skin flickered with patterns that indicated frustration. "No, not one human has been affected. That is partly why we requested your assistance." Admiral Jack Stone entered the medical bay with Lucas Wilson beside him. Both men looked tired. They'd been coordinating with Confederation officials for days. "Dr. Wright," Jack greeted her. "Any progress?" Emma shook her head. "The pathogen resembles nothing I've ever seen. It's energy-based but acts like a biological virus, replicating using the host's own systems." Lucas studied the medical displays. "It seems to target the most advanced biological systems first. The Kreth's neural network, the loom's light processing organs, all the biological advantages that make them superior to humans," Jack said quietly. Mavex's skin darkened. "This is not a time for human satisfaction, Admiral." "I meant no disrespect," Jack replied. "I'm simply noting that what you consider our biological weaknesses might be protecting us." A new alarm sounded. Medical staff rushed to attend to a newly arrived patient, a high-ranking Kreth official who had collapsed during an emergency council meeting. "It's spreading faster," Mivex said, voice tense. "Our quarantine measures are failing." Emma watched the medical team work. Their movements were precise, their technology incredible, but something was missing. "You're treating each symptom individually," she observed, "following standard protocols." "Of course," Mivex said. "Our medical systems are designed to identify and counteract any threat." "But this isn't a standard threat," Emma countered. "It's adapting." Jack moved closer. "What are you thinking, Doctor?" "Humans have faced countless plagues throughout our history," Emma explained. "We survived because we adapt faster than the diseases do. We try unconventional approaches when standard treatments fail." Mivex's skin pulsed with doubt. "Our medical technology is centuries beyond yours. Yet your people are dying," Jack pointed out, "while humans remain unaffected." Lucas had been examining one of the medical devices. "These systems are programmed to follow specific treatment paths. They can't improvise." "Like we discussed before," Jack said, "they don't adapt." Emma made a decision. "I need to bring in more human medical researchers, and I need samples to study under less restricted conditions." Mivex seemed ready to object, but another alarm blared. More cases detected on 3 different worlds. "The Confederation Council has authorized full human involvement," he admitted reluctantly. "You have whatever resources you require." As the aliens hurried to attend to the new crisis, Jack pulled Emma and Lucas aside. "This is bigger than we thought," he said quietly. "The Loom representative told Mary that over 40 worlds have reported cases now." They're scared, Lucas observed. I've never seen them scared before. They've never needed humans before, Emma replied. Now their survival might depend on us. Jack looked around at the advanced medical bay, filled with technology that should have made disease a distant memory. All their power, all their superiority, he said, and they need the very weaknesses they mocked in us. Emma nodded grimly. Let's hope those weaknesses are enough to save them. The emergency meeting chamber on the Confederation headquarters station had never held so many humans before. Jack Stone surveyed the room, where 30 of Earth's top medical researchers, engineers, and scientists now sat alongside increasingly desperate alien representatives. High Commander Orcs, once so dismissive of humans, now looked directly at Jack. The Kreth leader's normally silver skin had dulled to an ashen gray, early signs of the mysterious pathogen. The situation has become critical, Orcs announced, voice weaker than Jack remembered. 73 worlds report outbreaks. Our most advanced medical facilities are overwhelmed. Our attempts to destroy the pathogen have failed. Emma Wright stood beside a floating display showing the spread of the disease. We've identified several key characteristics of the pathogen. It targets the most advanced biological adaptations first, precisely the features that make Confederation species physically superior to humans. Your point, Doctor? Asked a Loom representative, its translucent form flickering with distress. Humans remain immune because we lack these advanced systems, Emma explained. Our relatively simple biology gives the pathogen nothing to latch onto. What you've called our weakness is now our strength. Murmurs spread through the alien contingent. Jack could read their expressions now, the reluctant acceptance that they needed human help. We've established research teams on 4 key worlds, Jack continued. All data is being shared with Dr. Wright's central team here. We've also prepared emergency human medical teams to deploy where needed. Lucas Wilson stepped forward with his engineering team. We've developed temporary technological systems to replace failing biological functions in affected individuals. They're crude by your standards, but they work. Crude solutions from a crude species, said Science Director Torek, though without the mockery that would have accompanied such words before. Now it sounded almost like hope. Dr. Anna Miller, Earth's leading immunologist, displayed a series of molecular structures. The pathogen evolves rapidly, but we believe we've identified its core energy signature. We can't destroy it directly, but we might be able to create a vaccine using human antibodies combined with elements from the resistant Dorax species. Erex's skin flickered weakly. You propose combining human and Dorax biology to save the Confederation. Exactly, Emma confirmed. The same primitive immune systems you once mocked might be your salvation. The chamber fell silent as the aliens processed this irony. Finally, Erex spoke. The Confederation formally requests Earth's full assistance in combating this threat. All restrictions on human involvement are lifted. All resources will be made available to your teams. Jack nodded. Earth is ready to help. As the meeting concluded, Jack gathered with Emma, Lucas, and Anna in a small side chamber. We're making progress, Emma said, but there's a problem. The vaccine will require massive amounts of human biological samples, blood, marrow, immune cells, more than we can easily collect from just the humans in space. How many donors would we need? Jack asked. Thousands at minimum, Anna replied. Possibly millions if we need to scale up production quickly. Lucas shook his head. There's barely 15,000 humans off Earth right now. Jack considered their options. We need to ask Earth for volunteers. After how the Confederation has treated humanity for years, Lucas asked, you think people will line up to help them? I do, Jack said firmly, because that's who we are. Emma smiled slightly. Our most human weakness, compassion. Not weakness, Jack corrected. Our greatest strength. Back on Earth, Jack addressed the United Earth Council via holographic link. Behind him stood the leaders of all 7 Confederation species, a sight unimaginable just weeks ago. The beings who once looked down on us now look to us for survival, Jack told the council. They need our help, not our advanced technology or superior biology, but our fundamental humanity. Our ability to adapt, to improvise, and yes, to show compassion even to those who showed us none. What exactly are you asking of Earth, Admiral? Asked the council president. Jack straightened. I'm asking for volunteers. Millions of them. People willing to donate blood and other biological materials to save a civilization that mocked us. To prove that human weakness, as they called it, is actually humanity's greatest gift to the universe. The council chamber fell silent. The fate of the Confederation, and humanity's place in it, hung in the balance. Earth's response stunned even Jack. Within days of his appeal, millions of humans volunteered to donate biological materials for the vaccine. Collection centers opened in every major city worldwide as humanity rallied to save the very beings who had belittled them. At the Central Research Facility on the Confederation Station, Emma worked tirelessly with her team. Sleep-deprived but driven, she monitored the latest batch of vaccine samples. How's it looking? Jack asked, bringing her a cup of coffee, a human comfort now found throughout the station. Promising, Emma replied, rubbing her tired eyes. The combination of human antibodies and Dorak's cellular structures is holding stable. We're ready for larger-scale trials. Across the room, Lucas supervised the installation of makeshift life support systems for critical patients. His engineering team had created hybrid systems that bypassed failing alien biological functions, technology the Confederation would have dismissed as primitive months earlier. Lucas called a Kreth medical technician. The neural bypass for High Counselor Barrick is failing. Lucas hurried over, hands moving confidently among wires and circuit boards. The problem isn't the bypass. His energy absorption rate is changing. We need to adjust. He made quick modifications, improvising with available materials. The Kreth watched in silence as the crude-looking contraption stabilized the patient's readings. How did you know what to change? The technician asked. Lucas shrugged. I didn't. I tried what seemed logical and adjusted based on the response. That's how human engineering works when we don't have perfect solutions. In another section, Anna Miller supervised the first large-scale vaccine production. Human blood and tissue samples arrived hourly from Earth, processed immediately by teams working in shifts around the clock. We've confirmed immunity in 60% of test subjects, she reported to Science Director Torek, whose own skin showed advanced symptoms. Not perfect, but enough to slow the spread while we refine the formula. Torek studied Anna's data. Your species accomplishes much with limited resources and knowledge. We've had lots of practice, Anna replied. Human history is basically a series of crises we weren't fully equipped to handle. A message alert flashed on the main communication screen. Jack activated it to see Mary Clark reporting from a Bren colony world. Admiral, the situation here is worse than expected, Mary said, her face grim. The pathogen has mutated again. It's affecting the respiratory systems of the Bren now. The vaccine? Jack asked. Partially effective, but not enough. We need to modify the formula for the new strain. Emma joined Jack at the screen. Send me the molecular data. We'll adjust our approach. There's more, Mary continued. The Loom delegation believes the pathogen isn't natural. The pattern of mutation suggests it might be engineered. A heavy silence fell over the room. Jack looked at Torek, whose patterns of skin coloration indicated shock. Who would create such a weapon? Torek asked. Does it matter right now? Emma interjected. Natural or engineered, we need to stop it before more people die. Jack nodded. Emma's right. We focus on saving lives first. Investigation comes later. The news of possible biowarfare spread quickly. Fear gripped the Confederation worlds, threatening to unravel cooperation. Jack called an emergency meeting with representatives from all species. Listen to me, Jack said firmly. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats before. We survived because we put aside blame and focused on solutions. Right now, that's what the Confederation needs to do. Easy for humans to say. A loom representative countered. Your people aren't dying. No, Jack acknowledged. But we're the ones working day and night to save yours. Not because we expect gratitude or power, but because that's what civilized beings do for each other. The alien representatives fell silent. The pathogen doesn't care about our politics or past conflicts, Emma added. And neither does science. We've developed a modified vaccine that should address the mutation, but we need complete cooperation from all worlds to distribute it effectively. Slowly, the representatives nodded in agreement. As they left the meeting, Torek approached Jack. The once arrogant Kreth scientist now moved with difficulty, his body fighting the disease. I never understood your species before, Admiral, Torek admitted. I thought your biological simplicity made you inferior. I was wrong. Jack watched as human medical teams raced to prepare the new vaccine formula, working alongside alien scientists with a seamless cooperation that would have seemed impossible months earlier. We were never simple, Director, Jack replied, just differently advanced. The central command room of Confederation headquarters had been transformed. What was once a sterile, imposing chamber designed to showcase alien superiority now buzzed with activity as humans and aliens worked side by side. Makeshift equipment sat alongside advanced technology, a visible symbol of their desperate alliance. Jack stood at the main situation table, studying the holographic display of affected worlds. The modified vaccine had slowed the outbreak on most planets, but not stopped it completely. Admiral, called Emma, hurrying into the room. Her face looked drawn from weeks of minimal sleep. We have a problem. Jack's heart sank. Another mutation. Worse, Emma said, gesturing for the others to join them. The pathogen has developed a secondary phase. Once it finishes with the advanced biological systems, it begins attacking basic cellular structures. The parts similar between all species. Anna Miller pulled up detailed scans. We're seeing this in patients who initially responded to treatment. The pathogen goes dormant, then emerges in this new form. Are you saying humans are no longer immune? Asked Arax, who had recovered enough to resume limited duties. Not yet, Emma replied. But if this continues to evolve, eventually it will affect humans too. Lucas studied the data. It's like it's learning, adapting specifically to defeat our countermeasures. Which supports the theory it was engineered, Mary added. Natural pathogens don't show this level of targeted evolution. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. This wasn't just a Confederation problem anymore. It was potentially a threat to all intelligent life. What options do we have? Jack finally asked. Emma hesitated. I've been working with the Dorax medical team. We've developed a theoretical treatment that might work, but... She paused, looking uncomfortable. But what? Jack pressed. It would require direct neural tissue donation from living humans. Anna finished. The human nervous system contains unique structures that, when combined with Dorax regenerative cells, could create a permanent cure. How many donors would you need? Jack asked. Thousands, Emma replied quietly. And the extraction process carries significant risks for the donors. I'm talking paralysis, neurological damage, even death in some cases. Jack felt the weight of every eye in the room. You're saying we need humans to voluntarily risk their lives, not just donate blood. Yes, Emma confirmed. And we'd need them quickly. Jack stepped away from the table, needing a moment to think. The Confederation leaders watched him silently. After several minutes, he returned to the center of the room. I'll take the request to Earth. I won't order anyone to do this. It has to be voluntary, with full disclosure of the risks. Admiral, Eric said, his voice unusually gentle, your species has already done more than we had any right to expect. This goes beyond reasonable sacrifice. That's for humans to decide, Jack replied. 6 hours later, Jack stood before the United Earth Council, explaining the dire situation and the terrible choice humanity faced. "I know what I'm asking," he concluded. "These aliens once mocked us, treated us as inferiors. Now I'm asking our people to risk their lives to save them." The council president leaned forward. "Why should we, Admiral? What have they ever done to earn such sacrifice?" Jack considered the question carefully. "Nothing," he admitted. "But this isn't about what they deserve. It's about who we are. Throughout human history, even in our darkest moments, we've found the courage to help others, even our enemies, even those who belittled us." He showed them images from the relief efforts, human doctors working alongside alien healers, engineers like Lucas creating solutions with whatever materials they had, ordinary people lining up to donate at collection centers. "This is humanity at its best," Jack said, "not conquering through strength, but saving through compassion and ingenuity, the very traits they mocked as weaknesses." The council chambers remained silent for a long moment. Then, from the back of the room, an old woman stood. "My grandson is on one of those alien worlds, working as a doctor. I'll be the first volunteer." One by one, others stood, not in anger or revenge, but in simple, human solidarity. Jack returned to Confederation headquarters the next day. He didn't need to speak. The look on his face told the waiting aliens everything. "Your people agreed?" Orcs asked in disbelief. "The first volunteers are already being prepared," Jack confirmed. "Humanity stands with the Confederation." For the first time in their relationship, the mighty Kreth looked at humans with genuine respect. 1 year after the pathogen first appeared, Jack Stone stood at the observation deck of the Confederation's newly constructed Unity Station. The massive structure orbited Earth, the first major Confederation facility built around a human world. "Quite a view," said Emma, joining him at the window. She walked with a slight limp now, a reminder of her voluntary neural tissue donation 6 months ago. "Hard to believe how much has changed," Jack replied, watching a mixed crew of humans and aliens working on the station's exterior. The neural treatment had worked. After nearly 10,000 human volunteers risked their lives, the cure had spread throughout the Confederation. The pathogen was defeated, though not without cost. Many humans suffered lasting effects from their donations. Some didn't survive. But the sacrifice changed everything. "Admiral Stone," called a familiar voice. Orcs approached, accompanied by representatives from all 7 Confederation species. "The ceremony will begin shortly." Jack nodded. "We'll be right there." The main assembly hall was packed with delegates from every world in the Confederation. Humans made up nearly a third of the attendees, now fully integrated members rather than protectorates. Jack took his place on the stage alongside Emma, Lucas, Anna, and Mary. They watched as Orcs addressed the assembly. 1 year ago, the Kreth leader began. The Confederation faced extinction. Our advanced biology, our superior technology, all useless against the pathogen. We turned to humans, a species we had dismissed as primitive and weak. Orcs paused, his skin displaying patterns of deep emotion. "We were wrong," he continued. "What we saw as weakness was actually strength. Their adaptability, their creativity, their ability to function without perfect solutions, these traits saved us all. But most surprising was their willingness to sacrifice for beings who had shown them little respect." The final investigation had confirmed the pathogen was indeed engineered, created by a splinter group from a distant galaxy who saw the Confederation as a threat. The biological weapon had been specifically designed to target the Confederation's strengths. Today, Orcs announced, the Confederation Council has unanimously approved a fundamental restructuring of our alliance. No longer will we rank species by biological advancement or technological achievement. Instead, we recognize that true civilization is measured by cooperation, innovation, and compassion. Jack watched as a new emblem was revealed above the stage, the traditional Confederation symbol, now with Earth prominently included. And to mark this new beginning, Orcs continued, The Council has selected Admiral Jack Stone as the first human to serve as High Commander of Confederation forces. Surprised murmurs spread through the hall, followed by thunderous applause. Jack had known about the nomination, but hadn't expected the Council to approve it so quickly. As Jack stepped forward to accept the position, he saw Torek watching from the side of the stage. The Kreth scientist, now recovered but permanently changed by the pathogen, gave him a respectful nod. "I accept this honor on behalf of all humans," Jack said to the assembly. "Not as conquerors, not as saviors, but as partners. The pathogen taught us all that no species is superior in all things. Survival depends on our different strengths." He looked out at the faces, human and alien together. The Confederation mocked humanity's weakness until only we could save them. But in saving you, we also found ourselves. For the first time in human history, we are united as one world, part of something greater. After the ceremony, Jack found himself alone with Orcs in a quiet corner of the observation deck. "Did you ever imagine this outcome when we first met, Admiral?" Orcs asked. Jack smiled, remembering that first tense meeting years ago. "Never. I just wanted Earth to be treated with respect." "And now you command our combined forces," Orcs noted, "because you earned what we could not give." Together they watched as a small Earth ship docked with the station. From it emerged new human delegates, come to take their places in Confederation government. "Your people have an expression," Orcs said, "about strength and weakness." "We have many," Jack replied. "Which one?" "That true strength is found in overcoming weakness," Orcs said. "I believe we finally understand what that means." Jack nodded, watching the stars beyond the station. Somewhere out there, new challenges waited. But this time, humanity would face them not alone, but as equals in the vast community of worlds. "Understanding," Jack said quietly, "is where it all begins."